Support weapon.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Omega Podcast. My name is Lord Battleman. I'm currently in high orbit over Curia. We accomplished the major order last night. You can see here we took Gatria and Garherin. We collected 50 million common samples, and we have 17 hours left on the major order. We have 24,000 Helldivers who have focused their efforts on Curia. And I hope this is the first step to the march to Aurora Bay and player-driven MOs when there's no MOs from Arrowhead. But I digress. That's not why you're here. You're here to see episode 2 of the podcast. Shortly, you'll see Rogue, Terry, Begrod, Almadale, and myself do a roundtable discussion through our Discord server. It was broadcast in 720p. We're honing on a new format. So just bear with us. We're going to be making it better as we go along. Topics that we're going to cover is the Force of Law Warbond. We've all had 3 weeks with it. We're going to talk about the Heart of Democracy and everybody's sort of gut reactions of how the storyline is playing out. And we do a little bit of discussion at the end about the story and maybe a fundamental flaw in how this game is actually created. And we actually offer a pretty interesting fix to the whole problem, which I think we're going to expand upon in episode 3, or I'm going to do a dedicated video to that solution. But so chapters are in the description if you want to jump ahead. But trust me, this one's worth riding out all the way through. So without further ado, let's get started.
Allied destroyer has joined squadron.
There you go.
Engaging
I'll
orbital
give him a-
thrusters.
Come on, boys. Give him
Absolutely.
a yay.
Orbit synchronized.
I'm here.
Welcome to
Hey,
episode 2 of the podcast.
Cadet
Cape are you wearing,
Begrod
Brian?
in his secondary away armor.
Yep. Forever cadet.
Brian's wearing the wrong cape.
I
We
just-
gotta start over.
He's
just
always
wanted to-
wearing the wrong cape. It's fine.
I just wanted to match your helmet. I wanted to be part of the construction crew.
Peer pressure.
Okay, so can't remember how the other one went, but I figure we'll just have a go at this.
Gotta start talking, man.
This is way more
let's start
formal.
Well,
This
it's,
is way,
yeah, we're just hanging around. We're hanging out. So tell me, Brian, we ran you through the paces with the Warbond stuff earlier. What did you think of it?
yeah, today was my first time running it on all 3 missions, and I hated it.
Tell us how you really feel.
It was fine. Today was my first time trying the urchin and the arc dog, and I don't like the urchin. It just doesn't do enough. Like we took it on the Terminids, and just because I was running like the theme of the full Warbond, I couldn't close bug holes. There was nothing in my kit to do that, and there's not really a decent stratagem otherwise that just efficiently closes many bug holes, especially if you're going all in on the pacifier and the warrant and the de-escalator. And so I got a lot of kills, but the stuff is all fairly fun to use, but I was pretty useless objective wise. And then
So specifically, bug holes was your biggest issue, especially with
yeah,
the
against the Terminids. Like it's fine against the automatons. Bring something for fabricators. I ended up kind of supporting it with double eagles, and that went okay. And then Illuminate. But my main thing with the pacifier is that it's probably the best like gimmicky weapon that's not just killing stuff. Like it's got really low damage, but the stun effect is really handy compared to something like the pummeler with its stagger. I'd much rather bring the pacifier with the stun effect versus the stagger of the pummeler, or even say like the Punisher plasma. It's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun to use, but same kind of deal where I'd rather just have the reliability of the pacifier. The de-escalator is just good all around.
Yeah, I find the de-escalator is pretty good. Provides
The-
a nice punch. It's like a grenade launcher.
The arc dog will definitely fit straight in with whatever Palpatine build I'm going for.
And its usefulness.
I think it's okay. Like, it's got low rate of fire, but it's fine. I mean, I guess the downside of it is how many times I've killed the whole team with it. So I just kind of got to go off on my own. And then I was running into that when I was on the bugs where I couldn't be on my own because I couldn't close bug holes, but I couldn't be with teammates or else I had to turn off the backpack. And
Yeah,
so
I-
I wasn't really using it, was I?
I got toasted by your guard dog like 3 times, like early on, until we
normally-
figured out that I should stay quite separate from Brian. But then it kind of defeats the point of team play.
Brian normally isolates himself anyway, so that's totally fine.
Well, yeah, but I can normally deal with other threats. If I'm not doing the full meme there, I would have had the pacifier and the grenade pistol, so at least that would have been my grenade or my bug hole closer, or I bring frags for that too. But yeah, the urchin is just awful. Like, I take the knives over the urchin.
Ooh.
Not- What about you, John? How did you find the main weapons, like the pacifier, the escalator, and all those?
I mean, it's okay. Like the pacifier's fine. I don't think it's really for my playstyle personally, but having an assault rifle that'll give you the stun effect is good. Like, just use it the right way. I like the de-escalator. Generally, just that horrid reload, but you know me, I love arc weapons. Arc grenade launcher, yeah, you're speaking my language.
And the guard dog.
I've used it like once. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the guard dog because if I'm taking a guard dog, if I'm taking the arc thrower itself, then I'll take a guard dog usually, and I usually want the lib pin guard dog. Just the low rate of fire for me isn't great, and I don't need a guard dog arcing my teammates to death when I'm actively trying to not arc my teammates to death with my arc thrower. So
Yeah, I found that too.
yeah, for me, not the biggest fan of that one. Yeah, it's hard to get away from that lib pin guard dog for me. I really like that one, or the dog breath, the gas dog, in the right circumstance. But the warrant, big fan on Illuminate because you can just snipe out those watchers. I have a hard time hitting the watchers generally, so anything that makes that easy is great for me. Although it is tough to give up the ultimatum, but I do like the warrant for that.
So Terry,
Yeah,
have
the
you used-
urchin. Yeah, I don't have much to say about the urchin. So
yeah, the urchin. Did you
Good luck out there.
you find it
Clever.
useful? Does it fit a niche or no? John.
I mean, maybe in the cities, like if you stick to the wall and it can stun, but I mean, gas just covers such a large area. What I'm really hoping for this Warbond is it's for me overall the weapons it's a mixed bag right now, but I'm kind of hoping in the future as more updates come out and the missions change that it'll find its place, kind of like gas has. Because when gas came out, if you remember the gas Warbond, it was horrid. Like the gas wasn't that great. But a couple updates later, they fixed it, and now like everybody takes gas grenades, gas dog, gas strike. It's really good now. So I'm hoping that Warbond gets that treatment down the line.
Before this last Warbond, I think that was the previous worst Warbond, according to most of the internet.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
gas
but now-
is growing on all of us, eh?
Yeah, now everybody takes gas.
It
Like,
works well.
Yeah, it works really well now. Well, they made it so it doesn't just confuse; it actually damages enemies. So
Combined with like the orbital gas strike is really good because you
Yeah.
just stun them in it and they sit in it and take the damage over time. I guess the same is true for fire.
I'd say the sterilizer, the support gas weapon, is probably I still feel like it has no purpose in a loadout because there's so many other better things that you can take that do so much better.
What you just said is what I feel about this entire Warbond.
Okay, Terry, I guess it's your turn. Let's
savage.
so what do you think of Force of Law?
I have been playing this game since it came out. I've got every single Warbond except for this one because it just didn't have the appeal. I kind of liked, just based on the video footage, the way that assault rifle looked. But then after just some quick reviews that people released immediately, it's like, this is obviously not going to be interesting to me. I really like the idea of them trying to create support roles, but the problem with that is you can just support so much better by killing things rather than stunning them. So it's almost like this seems like cosplaying more than I prefer more effective gameplay.
Yeah. What about the armors? We haven't really. Nobody's mentioned anything about the armor so far.
What was the passive?
Passive is it's 25% resistance to chest
padding,
damage,
right?
and then 25% resistance to explosion damage, and then prevents all damage from bleeding from chest and hemorrhage. And the armor rating was 100 for a medium, so there is no bonus per se in that.
It seems kind of silly. It's almost like one of the third traits there was just slapped in to make it so they could say there's 3 traits on it.
I mean, I will give them credit that in the past they've given us one trait has been kind of the common for a while, and then they've changed it to giving 3 traits.
It just seems like they kind of slapped one on just to say they could do 3 though.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to take the explosive resistance, you just take the one that has 50% instead.
I found the armor's a little bit more like that 25% resistance to explosion and that 25% resistance to chest damage. It does make you a little tougher unless you get a headshot or something like that. So I have noticed I've tanked a few things where normally if I was wearing light armor, like I'd be done. But it's very slight, like 10% difference in my perception of like how much damage I take on them.
I'd say this Warbond is prime for some modifications later that bring it back, like the gas. I think maybe it could make a resurgence if there's some kind of new armor passive that ties into it somehow.
Yeah, but did they change anything on the gas, really?
Yeah, oh, they did. They made it. The gas used to not damage enemies so much as it was just a stun kind of a thing.
So they increased the DOT?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know if it was the Buff Diver update, but somewhere along the line, I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, that kind of shows that this one might get the same treatment because this is kind of like a support role, and the chemical one was kind of a support class. You're just supposed to go and confuse the bugs, but now it hurts them.
Yeah. So
yeah, but it makes it's kind of like an ad hoc change that goes exactly to what Terry was talking about earlier, is that the support role doesn't exist. It doesn't actually need to exist when you can support your team by killing things a lot faster. And so the benefit of the gas isn't that, we're not talking about that it stuns things. We're now talking about, oh, well, it's even better, or it's now considered good because it actually kills things rather than stunning. And I don't know. I call it the dog fart. I'll always call it the dog fart because it's just funny. I like it. It doesn't have to damage anything. Because I like fire and I kill things with fire. That's, stunning things is a secondary effect of that. But the game doesn't have, it has this gimmicky novelty stem gun. It's got medic armor. It's got all these things that you can like we said before, you can cosplay as something, but the mechanics aren't there.
Well, especially in
They're
the
just not
armors.
there.
Like the armors, almost all the passives. Like I kind of went through them all and I went, okay, I just want to have the toughest armor I can get and have the most mobility. And like in all honesty, the first armor they released has 150 padding because of extra padding, like the one that Vigrad's wearing right now, the yellow.
Huh?
That's the same thing as the original. It's just the Golden Eagle, but it's 150. It's the same as heavy armor, but you're at a medium like mobility rate. And then like all the passives, I look at them all, and like outside of Siege Ready, like Siege Ready is the only one I feel really actually makes a difference when it comes to like reload speed and all this other stuff. So almost everyone is kind of, like you said, gimmicky. Like each one has this kind of little bit of a thing here, a little bit thing there, but it doesn't really like really help too much when it comes to actual gameplay at the end of the day, right?
I
Yeah.
really enjoy the peak physique and how you can aim down sights so quickly with heavier weapons.
Oh, that's true.
I'm
The-
very fond of that.
The peak physique does
That is a
provide.
nice one.
It overcomes a lot of the ergonomic problems of before. But like the new weapon updates does help with a lot of the ergonomics, right?
Yeah. Like it
Yeah,
does.
yeah. And I think that was a really good step in trying to customize within the useful limits of the game rather than trying to come up with classes that we can play. I think just allowing folks to customize those weapons and maybe just investing more on that customization to get different play styles rather than different different classes.
Yeah.
It's a way to put your signature on your gameplay because you can kind of make the weapons the way you want them to feel, even if it's not good. You can just like, oh, I like it better like this.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and I don't think it's worth it to think about the game, to think about Helldivers as a game where like each person is its own class. Like you're going to be the gas person that goes in and stuns. You're the anti-tank person that, I think the having like being able to have electric items and gas items and fire items and everything, it just allows you all to be super versatile. So like maybe in your 4-man team, instead of having a gas person, one person just takes gas grenades or something, right? So as you fight together, the breach comes up, you hit it with one there, and then everybody else has got stuff too. So it's everybody plays a little bit of all the roles, maybe depending how you want to do it.
Well, we
You know
all
what I mean?
we all build our builds pretty similar. We always take something for something. We need something for a heavy tank or anti-tank. We take an ultimatum if you're not taking a dedicated one. If we're
Yeah.
we're doing chaff clear, we make sure our primary can do chaff clear or our secondary can do chaff clear. Like we all, when we put together our builds, we want that versatility when that charger's charging at us. We don't wait for our buddy, unless I got Bob behind me. Because anytime I got Bob behind me, I don't take anti-tank at all. Because he's that reliable with his recoilless. But generally, we all go in with the mentality like we want to be prepared for every eventuality, and we'll lean towards chaff clear or we'll lean towards anti-tank, depending on the mission. But generally, we'll all take something to deal with everything. Like, is that a fair assessment of everybody's kind of like set up?
I
to build?
agree.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I think even though Helldivers is kind of like built for just like clones or drones or whatever these guys are supposed to be, sort of like all of us go out there sort of like superheroes to a degree. It's like you're Stallone, you're Schwarzenegger, you're Kurt Russell, and then named fourth action hero guy, and
Jet Li.
we're all supposed to be super deadly at the
Li.
same time as you can be supporting your teammates. It's kind of walking that line between you're a superhero and you're just some disposable grunt.
Well, those
Yeah.
Steve guys worship us like we're superheroes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Spin a wheel and wing it.
Yeah. How do I get out of this?
I like that one.
Okay, so
You're stuck. You started it.
you got to run around.
Stomp any bugs lately?
So I think the Warbond, like my assessment of it is, I think elements of it can fit into builds, because that's kind of how we build. We build for circumstances, and we try to build for variety and like capability of taking on everything. So I think like the de-escalator does fit into some builds. I've used the electric guard dog in different builds, but I like Begrod said at the beginning, he took everything all together, and he felt useless in some circumstances where he just couldn't close a bug hole or take care of like certain things. And like it's frustrating when you're playing the game and you run into that scenario where you're like, oh, a bug hole, and you're like, well, I normally have a grenade for that, or I usually have the eruptor for that, or I have a grenade launcher or something. That's why the grenade pistol was so popular when it came out, because it was like it filled that, oh, I can use this as a secondary and I can close those bug holes. Or
It's the ultimate utility boost.
yeah, it's like the ultimate utility. And then the ultimatum came along, and we're all like, okay, well, I can take grenades now because the ultimatum fills that anti-tank role. So now I don't have to take this, and I can do this. So I really like this game for the fact that each Warbond, you can take elements out of it and fit it into like a versatile build.
I'd still
Right,
say
well-
this is the weakest one, at least right now.
Yeah.
Subject to change.
I think it's totally fine. It's just the compounding effect that I couldn't be around my teammates who I needed to fulfill what I was lacking in the loadout.
Yeah,
And
the
purpose of
electric.
support role.
Well, no, the electric guard dog. If we all took the electric guard dog and we didn't take specific armor to not get killed, we would all just team kill ourselves all the time. Like it would be a very frustrating experience. So it's not a guard dog you can just take willy nilly. You have to build an entire, either the arc armor or like heavy armor with stims or something like that to try to mitigate that team killing aspect. I guess if you went full arc trooper with arc armor, Tesla towers, everybody went arc stupid. We've done it before.
Yeah,
okay,
in
that
scenario,
arc
really
dog
good.
fits in perfectly into that kind of like full on
just
arc
do-
trooper
yeah.
build.
Just do bugs eradicate, and everybody takes arc armor and arc dogs and arc throwers and Tesla towers.
Yeah, because I actually got the pacifier up to level 24, well 23 before I gave up on it. So I ground that thing so I could put a 4x scope on it. So I find the pacifier bugs, it's useless. Like it's so, the ammo, like you're out of ammo before you even kill a thing. It's really nasty, and you're getting overrun every time. When it comes to bots, I can use it kind of like the DCS, and it has that stun feature, but it still takes 2-3 bullets to knock a head out on a devastator, or even like if I'm shooting troopers, it takes 2, sometimes 3 shots because they flinch around and you don't hit the same spot twice sometimes. So, and then on the Luminate, it is really, I will say this, it's very precise low recoil. If you scope in on an overseer floating and you just keep it center chest, you can drop them relatively quickly within 15-20 bullets. And it's got a high rate of fire, so it's not that bad for those. But anyways, I think the worst thing I found in the Warbond was the urchin. At the end of the day, it was
Read.
Pretty lackluster.
It sucks.
it is so like niche. Like it doesn't do tanks on the bot side. It doesn't do anything with the factory striders. Doesn't do anything with Isle Titans. It only, like flesh mobs, it's the only stun that will actually stop a flesh mob. And like I've tried all the other stun things on flesh mobs and nothing works on it. Like all the arc
Thrower will.
weapons. Which one?
Arc thrower can do it if you don't get within its rage range.
Yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, if you don't get in the rage, but the urchin will shut it down no matter what. Rage, no rage. You put it on it, it just stands there and it just pulses on him. So it is like a grenade that was so specific for one specific unit. But we build so versatile, it's not worth taking up that entire grenade slot when you could just take thermite and throw a thermite on a flesh mob and it blows up and it's dead. Like it's the same concept. Like why would you take the urchin to stun something when you could take a thermite and just kill it with one? It's always that. It always goes back to that thing, right?
Sometimes it's only one thing that matters.
Yeah.
Where's my CO1 permit?
All right. So Force of Law, like I guess everybody kind of feels like in some cases it has some good portions,
Yeah.
but it's not the strongest Warbond out there for sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hopefully in the future they find, they tweak it. It can get better.
Yeah, it's a to be determined.
I think they've been doing that a lot. They will release something slightly lower powered and then kind of wait to see what everybody says about it and how it's performing, and then they can kind of bump it up a little bit. Because it's hard for them to put something out too strong and then they're like, oh crap, that's overpowered,
Yeah.
and pull it back because everybody freaks out, right?
Phil could tweak it.
A ruptor. Yeah, I can tweak anything.
So moving on, we'll move on to I guess the Heart of Democracy update and how it's kind of playing out into the map, the story, the mega cities. Like, I guess I just want a quick feedback on what everybody feels about the Heart of Democracy upgrade. I mean, obviously, the Defense of Super Earth was kind of a cool, story beat, something we hadn't really seen before. Everybody really got into it. But this is sort of like the coming down after the big content high and how everything's kind of transpiring. Like,
The post-update climax blues.
yeah,
The clarity.
let's post what is it? Post nut clarity? Is that what we're
Post,
talking about?
post update clarity.
I
Yeah.
said climax. I was trying to be classy.
So
Where's my permit?
you get the permit after the podcast is done.
Oh yeah, right. That's right.
So we'll go through this and we'll wrap up. So Terry, I guess I know you haven't had a lot of game time, but like you said, this was the second time you've been in a mega city.
Second
Against
time,
bugs?
yeah. I really like the urban environment because it's just this type of gunplay in this game feels good, and having that duck and cover kind of in and out of the alleys does feel pretty nice. I could see it. I've only done bots and bugs, so I don't know what the eliminate would be like, but it can't be too much different.
Well, you fought on
over-
Super Earth during the defense, right?
Oh, I think I was on vacation for that whole thing. I missed, like, by the time I got back, you guys were already kind of like at the tail end of it. That was the first time I did one mission, I think.
Oh,
But I
sorry.
really like it just because it brings. I'm a fan of this game. Not like, even if you look at my tag, Super Citizen, like I'm wearing that as a fan. It's like I really support Arrowhead, and if it brings the energy up of the entire community, I am really for it because these guys deserve the support. So even though I didn't get to see all of it, I'm very happy to see that the improvements and all the stuff that they brought really kind of got the community amplified, and now even Xbox is getting brought into the fold. So
Yeah, the Xbox
cool.
thing is kind of like everybody's making a big deal, but I guess it is. I mean, it's not till
That's
August
huge.
26th. It's huge because I think
huge player base.
because I was looking at the numbers, and we'll get back to the Heart of Democracy stuff. But I was looking at the numbers for Xbox, and about 25 to 30,000 are Sony players, and the rest are Steam or PC. So there's a good
Oh.
potential that new Xbox people coming in, if they hold the Sony console numbers, could be an additional 20 to 30,000 people, like
I'd say
after
so.
after the initial surge, because that's obviously going to happen. You know how
I think the surge will bring everyone else up too. Like it's going to bring in more PC and more PS5 players as well.
yeah, because it'll be kind of like exciting to see like peak numbers 80,000, 100,000 again. Like
Well,
we're
you're
settled
right.
we're settling at about 60 or 70,000 average peak right now.
That's still crazy. But do you think they're just going to launch it on a new platform and not have something to go along with it? I don't think Arrowhead is going to make that mistake.
No, they'll definitely roll out part of the big storyline or some content update. That's why it's August 26th. Like they've got a few months to roll it out.
How long have
Fully
you been playing this game
their
now? It came
update.
out last year?
Sorry,
What was that?
It came out last year, last February?
Year and a half ago. It's
year and a
been
half now. It's day 5,
I mean-
14 today of the Galactic
Like,
War.
They keep bringing in these big updates to me. Like you can go away, you can fall off this game and come back to it, and it's always good no matter what. And I was a Xbox player for a long time, and this is an Xbox game if you're from like the 360 area. So it was kind of crazy to see this only on PlayStation. So I think it's going to be right at home there.
Cool. So, Bigrad, what do you think of the Heart of Democracy upgrade and the Xbox and people coming to Xbox?
Overall, aesthetically, the cities are super cool, but I still kind of groan when we drop in because mechanically, you can't steer your pod because the skyscrapers block that. The skyscrapers block all the stratagems I personally like using. So it just changes your playstyle a bit. Aesthetically cool, mechanically annoying to fight on. I think I prefer the more classic style maps.
Mixing it up seems like the point, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually enjoy the fact that you're forced to think differently and take like turrets. Turrets do really well in the city streets, especially if you get them on like a crossroads, like a 3 crossroad street, and it can pretty much like lock down a whole section. So, but I understand like we took just the mission we just ran 500s. Like John just took 500s in Gatling barrages that he normally doesn't take, and it's like, well, it's really nice to bring him in, but it takes time for the destroyer to move around and stuff. So yeah, that can be frustrating if you're not accustomed to it.
And taking away the reliability of it. And granted, the 500 they'll operate pretty good for that, but there's always the potential for it to get blocked.
Well, there was a few Gatling barrages we threw down, and it was just like 3/4 of it was hitting a building, and we're like, yeah, that's why.
I like you guys bring turrets so much that I personally just don't like bringing them. Maybe specifically for that reason, but I don't know. I just like other big. My monkey brain wants big booms.
Big boom, good. So
Big bada boom.
So you're pretty happy with how they're integrating the mega cities into the rest of the maps. We haven't seen any on bots yet, so that might be one of the bigger updates they do maybe after summer.
That could be fun, like Terry was saying, with the ducking and dodging. You don't really have to do that with the bugs and the Illuminate. I mean, they'll just chase you. So that's where the running comes from. But taking cover from the bot fire will be a unique thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be a lot more cover. That'd be actually quite interesting with the bug.
Tanks
bots.
can't fit down the alleys.
Yeah, that'd be freaky. Popping out of an alley, seeing a tank right there.
And what do you think about the Xbox stuff?
That's great. More players contribute to the Galactic War. And like you guys were saying, August 26th, hopefully they're rolling out an update. Hopefully it doesn't absolutely break the fucking game.
Like they always do.
Like it usually happens. That's what I was saying. Hopefully they're taking that long to do quality assurance in this update, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Okay. So John, what do you think? Part of democracy and Xbox?
I mean, generally, I really like it. Like, I've been really hyped about every update since the Buff Diver update. Like, that's when they got on track with the 60-day plan and all that. And I think pretty much every update, in every content update, not necessarily War Bonds, has been pretty fire. Heart of Democracy, I thought was awesome. The Defense of Super Earth was awesome. I thought it was pretty well planned out, and all those new Illuminate mission types on Super Earth were really fun. Shooting the whether it was the defense cannon that comes out of the playground, that was pretty cool. And what was the Repel Invasions Fleet mission was pretty cool. So really liked that week of the Defense of Super Earth. And since then, I think they found a pretty happy medium because you can fight pretty much any of the 3 factions anytime. You can almost always get a super city mission if you want it, or you can fight on the traditional missions. So it kind of depends what you want to fight, but you kind of have your choice.
It's always been its strength. When we first started playing, it was like the 2 factions, which was kind of dynamic because they play out very differently. And then when they added in the Illuminate, Illuminate are kind of the hybrid of both the bugs and the bots, range and swarm tactics sort of thing.
Well, yeah. Well, and two, also remember with Heart of Democracy, we got the rest of the Illuminate. We got the Flesh Mobs and the Leviathans and the Stingrays and all that. So that made the Illuminate way more challenging to fight.
Yeah,
maybe not necessarily the rest.
Well, I think that's going to be part of the next couple months. Like, we know there's more to the story, and we know we haven't seen all the units basically from the leaks that are out there. So we know what they have they're establishing in the south of the map right now is, they're going to roll more out on that. Like, that's not the full Illuminate force that we know that's coming.
Right. But it still is a lot more than what we had with just the Overseers and the Walkers and the Voteless.
Oh, we can't count how many times we were on Illuminate missions before, and we're doing level 10s, and we're all just like, is this it? Like, they're a bunch of sissies.
Yeah.
Just holding them down at level 10 without much effort. So, yeah, the new units have definitely changed that dynamic. It's actually a lot more challenging to fight.
Well, yeah, and honestly, I was kind of worried when we defended Super Earth. I was like, well, we're not gonna see the super cities again for a while. I figured because they wouldn't have the super cities on the other planets, it was just kind of on Super Earth. Um,
But they managed to
no,
roll them out.
Yep, they got them out on the other planets, so I think that's really good. And like I say, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Arrowhead because the last Warbond isn't my cup of tea, really. But I'm really happy with the game. I'm really happy with what Arrowhead is doing. I'm excited about whatever the next story update is going to be. I'm excited about the next Warbond. So I really don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining at all because I am. This is really my favorite game right now and has been for the last year and a half. And
Yeah, that's actually quite impressive, isn't it? Like, we tend to float around to a lot of different games, and the fact that we keep coming back to this one is quite impressive.
This is a once in a decade type of game. It's always
Yep.
good no matter what.
Yep.
You can just come back to it and it feels nice. It's like an old pair of shoes.
Oh yeah. Well, and I like say I was out of town for a couple of weeks and I didn't get to play, and boy, I was missing it. I really just wanted to jump on it and start killing some bugs.
You kept jumping into Discord and asking us to stream. You're like,
Stream.
I need my fix.
Let me live vicariously.
We could probably consider, because we play so many of the other games, that it's also keeping our palate fresh on this game. So it's just gonna have a lot more legs because we're always constantly refreshing ourselves.
No, that's awesome. And the Xbox thing, you're obviously probably good with.
Oh yeah, all for it. As Johan said, send more dudes. I think more platforms the better. Bigger community, more people playing. The next time we have a big defensive Super Earth type event, then we'll be more people. And I don't know. I was kind of hoping we could find another Malevelon Creek type of cultural event, so that the new players would have that,
That's gotta be organically done. Like, it can't be from Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Because Malevelon Creek, Equity at Sea, even the review bomb, all of those things were like, we're wearing the review bomb cape right now. Those were all created from like an upswell of community, whether it was positive or negative energy. It still was community driven, and like, I think my biggest frustration is no communication within the game. There's no means to like organize ourselves and like focus on something like that. But that's that
project comes in.
Yeah, my project, the Aurora project, is just a fledgling idea. I think I'll dedicate an entire podcast to that next time. I think for now, I just want to keep it. I don't want this to go too long. And Phil's been quiet, climbing a mountain somewhere. So
I've been listening. I died.
He's
I
really
got back though.
Bad day.
Bad day. I don't get the wolf ears.
So if you guys don't know, he's off playing Peak because we found this new game where it's a 4-player co-op where you climb mountains. So I might overlay some footage while you're watching this, but anyways, Phil, when it comes to, you already spoke on the Warbond.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of reiterate my thoughts on the Warbond are that I'm kind of halfway between everybody else and Terry. I bought it. I didn't really explore the other guns because I didn't find it to be, I didn't find them to be useful, at least in the play style. So take that data point as you take it. It's my opinion of it is that I'm sure it'll be great for folks that do want to be more support rather than anything else. Maybe they want to stick next to somebody and like we used to do in the old days, have someone arc the shit out of a charger, and then somebody else has the setup that is a little bit more useful to destroy heavies. That type of thing can play out. But that's where I'll bridge up to my main issue always with this game is that those types of interactions with your team, with your guild, or whoever, or the community, it's as you said, organic. It's you're the ones that are driving the story, and I think that's where you guys and myself have these kind of maybe not core memories, but pretty cool memories of taking part in Malevelon Creek, taking part in maybe not review bombing, but restoring, maybe both. Those types of things are community driven.
I left positive reviews. I never review bombed, but when the call came out to fix I did put positive reviews out on Steam. So just
I did too.
But that's participation in the community, right? Like
I did the review bomb, and then I fixed it after they.
Yep.
you guys gave the bad reviews.
Yeah. Well, I mean, give the negative review, but a positive comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then as soon as they fixed whatever it was, I fixed it. They went back and changed it.
Yeah, and that in and of itself is a tangent for sure. That's a can of worms that we can have a whole bunch of conversations on. But no, the community driven aspect of any game is what makes the game either really good to play or detestable. Because there are communities that are absolutely horrid. I will not name those games. We all know those games. We've all played those games. And
just an absolute toxicity from the player base and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yep. And you don't really get that from Helldivers. We've all slummed it or perhaps enjoyed our time playing with randos.
Scrubs.
Or both.
Gotta call them scrubs.
Or scrubs, yeah. I'm trying not to be derogative to those poor random NPCs.
If we find them competent, we call them Omega Reserves.
Yeah. But those again, those are community driven interactions. I will scale back my criticism of Arrowhead providing these kind of contrived narratives because I think that they really feel the need to continue to drive content creation with some reasoning, and their narratives are satirical. They're somewhat cynical, but in that it's somewhat refreshing. Maybe a mirror to present day, but it's a way for them to justify the content that they're creating for us. And so I get that. I'm not going to say that cities were bad. I'm not going to say that that play style and that the new missions were bad, because they weren't. They were really good. They're really fun. I look forward to going to a planet, seeing a mega city, and then having that type of gameplay. Or if I want wide open spaces to grind samples, I'll go off to Fenris or whatever.
Hold it together, Terry. Can't go yet.
Yeah, but
sorry, Terry was.
I'm not going anywhere.
He was trying to walk away or something.
He was just walking away.
He was turning around. Go ahead. So
we should probably watch the stream so I can see what you guys are doing.
We'll take us into the heart of democracy. Like you've touched on it a bit with what you're talking about.
So all of those things that are narrative driven, I like them. They're good. I think they're really good. The replayability of the game is in all the things that you talked about. All you guys talked about, the different missions, different play styles. All of those things make it really, really fun to play and adds longevity. I just don't think that they're going to be able to pump out the amount of relevant content that is interesting to us without giving us the tools or us. And here's the paradigm shift. Here's another. Yeah, there's the other term. Here's the paradigm shift. Maybe it's on us. Maybe it's not them. I've always bitched about them making contrived storylines. Maybe really it's just our fucking fault for being lazy and being just wanting to be spoon-fed a narrative. Maybe the mechanics do exist that we can actually go to Aurora Bay. Maybe there are mechanics that exist that we can go to pre-existing planets and actually set the narrative or force Joel to do something rather than us be spoon-fed all of that. And so my thoughts on the Heart of Democracy are, again, I didn't care for the narrative. The mechanics, the new gameplay, the new missions were all a lot of fun. So I thought that was really good. I just worry about the longevity without either the community getting off their ass and doing something, or Arrowhead opening it up and actually kind of, again, spoon feeding us the instructions. Hey, this is how this works. So maybe you can go and, do something.
Well, I've been considering, like, I've done an initial video on the concept of March onto Aurora Bay, being like the Aurora project, and the video I did had 700 something views, so it kind of took off on its own. The views are at 100 at best right now, and that's fine. So
Yeah.
like, there's
What about-
definitely an appetite out there for people when they see it to watch it, so that's good. But I also I've been looking around at all the different Discords out there, like the Helldivers Companion app Discord, the official Discord from Helldivers, and I've looked at a few other larger Discords, and it's like it would be like herding cats to try to do this independent outside. Like, you'd have to have a groundswell movement that everybody gets behind, and that, honestly, hopeful but not optimistic that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
before any of the actual narrative existed, we did have, what was it, what was his name? General something's
Brash.
General
Brash.
Brash.
General Brash. Yeah, we had a mission set, a de facto kind of mission set that we could do, even something like that. But really, it's going to take testing the null hypothesis.
like, I think the biggest frustration, like, and this is something Arrowhead, if they want this kind of engagement, they're going to have to provide us an in-game method of communication, and all the bad things that can go along with that too. But a means to encourage us to collectively communicate. Then,
Except
because
the DSS is a pilot of.
and the DSS was
Yeah.
because what happened when the DSS was announced? Everybody went batshit crazy about this. Going to have clans. We're going to be able to go all together onto the DS and talk, and there'll be a central community hub. And everybody was like, "Oh my god, this is it!" And then the DS rolled out, and what happened? We all went, "Huh? That's it?" And then we got orbitaled to death by 380s, and that was fun. I got to experience that. A lot of us did. I'm like, "Is this
To
it?"
get the vote for where that happened.
And we got to vote where we die horribly on the planet's surface. It was wonderful. And then that never met, and the entire community, because I think the community is hungry for a way of centralized, like, organization. Because all the external stuff, you got to be hardcore, like, game player into the storyline, something to go on to these other Discords and try to organize something, right? Like, it's not the average player. If you ask B-Grod about the story, what would B-Grod say? That's your cue.
I don't know, man.
Tell me,
Yeah.
what would you say, Brian?
Are you talking about my meme?
There's a story.
Yeah, there's a story.
I'm a cadet, give me orders.
So, but that's probably a large majority of the player base is they log in, they see where everybody is, they go, "Oh, there's something's going on over there. Let's go over there." Because they see 40,000 people on a planet. Okay, I guess we're doing that. They may look at the major order, they may not. But
Yeah, I literally look at the major order and I see where all the players are there.
you're like, I guess we're doing that today. And
That's why I'm always on other people's ships, not my own.
Yeah, well, you don't even look. Like, what are we doing today? But so, and I guess the expansion of Xbox for you, Phil, is obviously it's probably good news.
I think that's really good news. I think more people provide the means to possibly enact what I'm hoping they can enact without too much effort. I get the idea of having a central hub. That would be awesome. I think that's kind of like the pie in the sky kind of thing. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they can do it. But we know that we can vote for planets on DSS. Why can't we just have a system like a Warfront system where we can select and highlight different areas to that are, that the majority of people or maybe groups of people are wanting to do.
Well, what if they had created, like, how we have the voting system for the DSS?
Mhm.
Like, why couldn't they create, like, they'd give us their major orders and do their storyline thing, and they'd have their major beats out there. But anytime there's this filler time, Like the last major order, go take these 2 bug planets and get 50 million common samples. Every one of us know it's a filler mission at the end of the day. It's like, okay, you just didn't have anything ready for the next thing, so you're giving us that. Like, would it not make more sense to give us a Warfront system where for 5 days you log in, a message comes up, like collectively choose your own MO?
Mhm.
Like, if they created that mechanic within the game, then you'd have the mass go, oh shit, we have an opportunity. And a group here, a group here, a group here, they'll go, oh, let's go after Curia. Or let's march on Aurora Bay or whatever. And then they vote. And then you get this sort of same thing we got with the DSS. The DSS voting system works pretty well. It does kind of follow the major orders. It does go to where generally it needs to be. Now that they changed it every 3 hours, it actually works a little bit better. So that system kind of works. They could easily do that for player-run MOs internally in the game and let us write our story when they just don't have anything. It would probably give them a break at the end of the day. Just let us and then Joel has to respond to our input.
You're talking about side quests, man.
No,
Yeah.
like okay. So we took Elliot. We had 1 AM MO with Allard 3, and we were at 70 or 80% liberation. We could have took it, and then we got distracted by the bugs. Or no, we got distracted by the Jet Brigade. So then we all took off and left that planet, and all that work gone. It's almost down to 20% or something. It's slowly grinding down. Even Arrowhead dropped its percentage way low. And then we went to the Jet Brigade, and they took 6 planets, and we fought them back. And then the last one was Curia, where we were supposed to take that one back, or we were defending against it. And then we had, I don't know, 3 days with no major order, and everybody settled on Curia, and it was a player-run MO. We were like, okay, we're going to take this planet back, because this was one of the ones I was taking during the Jet Brigade. And then they dropped the bug mission, and like everybody effed off to the bug place, because that's the MO, and that's what we're trained to do. And then there's been 6,500 divers who have refused to leave Curia, and they're holding it, but they're not gaining and they're not losing. They're actually losing a little bit slower. So it would be amazing if Arrow just gave us the option to vote on an MO when we're in between the big story beats, because they can still do their narrative, they can still do their all the stuff they need to do. We still get the new content in, we get everything we're doing, but then we have a mechanism within the game to actually control the story. And that would be Joel then has to respond to an offensive assault that we do, and he has to look at the forces that are available and try to stop us. And it becomes all I want is a more dynamic, controlled player. I don't want to stop the MOs or the story or how they're doing it. I like everything that's laid out. I just want a little bit more organization control on the Helldiver side, where we get a chance to do something from time to time that's player organized and organic.
Yeah, you could do 5 days on, 5 days off. And I think the major thing that you find for people going to MOs is that you get a reward. You don't get a reward for doing other things. At some point, maybe don't offer medals, because for those of us who are already capped, it's just annoying at this point. There's no real reward there.
Yeah, but
Maybe-
even if we vote on a player-driven MO, the Arrowhead or Joel could still recognize that was the official vote. That's what we accomplished that goal. We could set our goals. There's mechanisms to do that. And then here's some samples, or here's some medals, or he can easily assign it to the MO.
Yeah, or here's a skin.
Or here's a
Or
skin, or
here-
here's
Yeah, something.
Here's
a
a-
component for something.
a new medal system. He gives us medals, and for accomplishing goal. I know there's all mechanics and programming involved, but whatever. Anyways, I think
Yeah.
we can have this kind of discussion. We could pretty much do a whole podcast on discussing that concept. So I like the idea of it, but I don't want this to go too long. But so I guess final thoughts.
Long urge to kill rising.
There are mountains, and I need to climb them
Fair enough.
for wolf ears.
Anything else? Nope, that's it. By the way, if you guys move your mouse left and right, you can say no. If you move your mouse up and down, you can say yes. You can emote that way. And Terry can just put up his arm. Okay, everybody salute. There we go. Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll wrap this up. And yeah, that's the second episode of the Omega Podcast. You guys have a good day, and catch you on the other side. And we're out.
And the outro.
Thank you.
Business time.
Perfect.
I had to fight all the urges to not just on board during the podcast.
You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
You could have gooch poked all the way through.
Well, that wraps up part 2 of the Omega Podcast. Thank you for taking the time, and if you're listening to my voice, I appreciate you sticking it out to the end. I found the concept of a player-driven MO and an in-game method of voting is an intriguing concept. I think in episode 3 we're going to explore that. We're going to continue to bring more people on board for these conversations. I think more opinions are better overall when it comes to different people's perspectives. And I hope you got something out of this. Thank you for being here. If you have a comment, please leave a comment below. If you found this interesting, share it with your friends, your squad mates, your Discord, whoever. We're just trying to get the word out that there might be a better way for the community to organize. And this is just another step in the process. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.